Can you hear that? That's the sound of spring training. It is just around the corner, which means we're into projection season. Welcome back to Second City Sports Talk. Yes, we are working on the license plate wall. We had a bit of rearranging, but now we do have somewhat of a better background. Still working on it. We're about, 36 license plates short of completing the entire wall. It's going to hurt my wallet, but nonetheless, who cares? Spring training is literally right around the corner. We are in the final week of January, meaning around February 1st, we will start to see some serious action about 20-ish miles away in Mesa, Arizona. But that is not the talking point of today's video. Zips. It's a part of Fangraphs. It is their projection model they release on teams prior to the season. Has just released their Cubs projection, and my oh my do I have some things to say about it. Now I want to start with what was the controversial thing when I read this article about, Zips Cubs projection, and that is the starting pitching. Now Zips was quoted saying that the Cubs starting pitching it's very deep, but it's also very deep in unexcitement, which if you think about it, coming from an outsider's perspective, is not that surprising. Now, of course, at the top, you have your Edward Cabrera, the big blockbuster trade acquisition this year. You have Cade Horton building off of his rookie year. You have Shota Imanaga, who took the qualifying offer to come back. Matthew Boyd, Jameson Taillon, Colin Ray. And then you have a bunch of question marks. You have Justin Steele, who is coming back from his major arm surgery. Who knows what you're going to get out of Steele in 2026. You then have Ben Brown, Javier Assad, and Jordan Wicks. You could even throw Jackson Wiggins into that conversation. These are guys who you do not know what they're going to give the major league team in 2026. So you have a lot of question marks there, but overall, we're talking 9-10 guys deep in terms of rotation options. Yet, if you look at the quote, unexcitement, I guess you could see it. They don't particularly love Cade Horton. They don't really love Edward Cabrera as well. We're talking for Cabrera, only 1.9 projected WAR, Horton only at 1.7. Matthew Boyd is their highest projected starting pitcher at 2.4 WAR. But if you just look at this entire rotation, Taillon 1.5, Imanaga 1.9. They even have Steele at 1.5 WAR here, even though he's going to miss, I would say, probably the first 50 to 60 games. Yes, this is a very solid rotation on paper, but Fangraphs thinks it lacks one thing, and that one thing, of course, is whiffs, high strikeout rate, all those things that these quote-unquote models love, the Cubs lack, and that is the reason for this very low projection. Again, these very, down projections for the Cubs starting pitching isn't necessarily surprising to me. You look at how this just pitching staff has been projected the last couple of years, specifically Taillon, Imanaga, Steele. These are not high-octane strikeout guys, and the projections just don't like pitchers like that nowadays. The league is so oriented on, 99-mile-an-hour fastball, 92-mile-an-hour slider, high strikeout rate, high whiff rate, high chase rate, and none of these guys have that. And of course, when they don't have that, they're not going to project well. They always outperform those expectations. Jed Hoyer would love me saying that right now, but it is true. The way the Cubs rotation is built, the way Jed Hoyer has built it, they are built to outperform those model expectations. They don't do anything really well besides get ground balls that the projections like. But on the field, you look at the conditions at Wrigley Field, you look at that defense behind them, they are going to outperform those pretty low expectations. Now, what really does surprise me, it makes sense that these models are not going to like the Cubs, you could say, non-flashy pitchers. But really what surprises me is that Cade Horton and Edward Cabrera's projections are so down on them. Cabrera, Horton, these are strikeout guys. I know that Horton didn't come up to the big leagues. In the minor leagues, he was a huge strikeout guy. When he first got to the majors, really wasn't that whiff guy, but it progressively built as he had that phenomenal second half. Him and Cabrera are strikeout guys, and the fact that Edward Cabrera right now is projected for a high threes ERA with only 139 strikeouts and 130 innings is quite surprising for a guy who has had a very high strikeout and whiff rate in his career in Miami. Now, if you look at Cade Horton, again, a high 3 ERA at 3.89, only 109 strikeouts in 125 innings. Yes, all projections across the board are going to be, you could say, underestimates. They're going to take the under. But these numbers, specifically innings pitched, are just really surprising to me. These two need to have great strikeout seasons if the Cubs are going to make the postseason and make it back to the division series and perhaps beyond the division series, a long run toward the World Series. If Horton and Cabrera are not getting strikeouts, if they are not getting results, this rotation is going to be in trouble because those two are supposed to be those ceiling and floor raising starting pitchers. Now on the flip side, and this really caught me off guard, Fangraphs and, Zips are really high on the Cubs bullpen. They have the bullpen at a projected 3.7 WAR, and specifically they are very high on two relievers. That's Hunter Harvey and Daniel Palencia. Zips has Hunter Harvey making 46 appearances to the tune of a 2.83 ERA with 56 strikeouts. Then his partner in crime, Daniel Palencia, is projected for a 3.75 ERA over 49 appearances with close to 65 strikeouts. Now, again, these are very conservative, but Palencia, Harvey, these are your back-end relievers. Both throw hard, have good stuff, which is why they're projected well. You see where this is coming from? If you have good stuff, if you throw hard, you are going to be projected better. Of course, at the end of the day, you have to see it on the field, but the stats like Palencia, they like Hunter Harvey. And unlike years past where this team has just messed up the bullpen in April and May, there is a legitimate chance here with those guys, Harvey, Palencia, Phil Maton, Hobie Milner, maybe even Jacob Webb. There is a chance that this bullpen will be solid heading directly into opening day against the Nationals, and we will not have to worry about the Hector Neris's, the Michael Fulmers, and that disaster in years past. And then, I don't really want to skip over the offense, but they have PCA at 4.9 WAR, Ian Happ 2.9, Mr. Consistent right there, Suzuki 2.8, Swanson 4.1, a lot of that is coming from defense, Horner at 3.9, Bush at 3.5, Bregman, Alex Bregman, the new fancy acquisition, at 3.7. They even have the combination of Moises Ballesteros, Austin Dean, and Matt Shaw contributing at least 1.4 WAR. They like this offense. They think this offense is going to carry the team, and that is going to come in handy with the Milwaukee Brewers being projected almost identically to the Cubs. You know the saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me? Well, that's what happened with the Milwaukee Brewers in 2025. Nobody gave the Brewers a chance to win the NL Central, and for the first couple months of the season, it did look like that. They trade Devin Williams in the offseason. They get swept by the Yankees to start the season. This looks like an 80-82 win team. Of course, that is not what happened. History just completely went on the Brewers' side. They made history in the second half, one of the best, if not the best record over a 60-game span ever. They win the NL Central. Of course, they beat the Cubs in the division series before getting swept by the Dodgers. Unlike last year, when all of these projection models did not like the Brewers, they now do like the Brewers, specifically Zips. Zips has the Cubs and Brewers at almost an identical low 90s win projection. This is going to be a dogfight throughout the entire season. For once, a projection model likes the Brewers. They also like the Cubs. And this is truly going to make for one of the best division battles on paper, you could say, in recent memory. And this is all with the Brewers trading Freddie Peralta away, who the Cubs actually started to figure out. And then he gets traded away to the Mets. This is going to be a dogfight. These teams are going to be going after it. You cannot look at this Brewers roster right now and say, hey, they're on the same level with the Cubs. The Cubs are always going to outmatch the Brewers on paper with the resources they have, yet the game is never played on paper. The Brewers, no matter how many times we count them out, find a way to punch the Cubs in the tooth. And you know what? Who's to say it's any different this year? It's going to be an entertaining battle right up until game 162. I know the two teams play at least 6 games in the month of September as well. It's going to be a dogfight, and it is going to be an absolute bloodbath to win the NL Central in 2026. I think at the end of the day, the moral of the story is pretty clear, and it's that baseball is not played on paper. Yes, the Cubs have 3 infielders projected over 3 WAR. Yes, Pete Crow Armstrong is projected near 5 WAR. Yes, the bullpen projects well. Yes, the Cubs are projected to win around 90 games. But the starting pitching does not project well. And if history has taught us anything, it's that starting pitching has outperformed these expectations. So who's to say the Cubs' offense, bullpen, or defense falters? Who's to say they underperform their expectation? The point is, you cannot play this game on paper. You have to go out there on the field and take care of business starting on opening day against the Nationals. You are going to face these inferior opponents to start the season. We'll go into the schedule later that you need to take care of. Everybody is on an equal playing field come opening day. And if you take any of these teams lightly, if you just look at projections, you don't actually play the game on the field, then you are in for a whirlwind of trouble.